Hello everyone. So this video shows what Russia claims is a HIMARS being destroyed by an Iskander missile in Kharkiv. As is common with this type of video shared by Russia, it's notable for not definitely showing a HIMARS being destroyed. I mean, it could be a HIMARS getting destroyed, but I don't think it is. Certainly, something is hit by an Iskander missile, but we don't see what. The video first shows a missile or a rocket launched in the field, and then cuts around to show some vehicles moving along a road. Then another cut to show a vehicle moving into some trees. After that, there's yet another cut, and we see a missile impacting the tree lines. This, according to Russian shills, is evidence of HIMARS being destroyed. I've seen better evidence of Bigfoot, to be honest. Now, there are some misconceptions though. Firstly, here. At first, I thought Russia was claiming this obvious soft-skinned utility vehicle highlighted in red to be the HIMARS. But apparently they're not. The HIMARS, or rather a vehicle which is barely visible with a tiny amount poking out, is here. Let's zoom in a bit. I mean, it is a vehicle, at least, but it's impossible to tell what for definite. It does have the sort of slanted down front as seen here, as a HIMARS does though. Surprisingly, it's very hard to get an actual top-down view of a HIMARS, so I've had to use this drawing, but it does cover the point. Now to me, the vehicle in the trees looks different, doesn't really match at all. The slant of the front is at a slightly different angle, and highlighted here, there's a sort of narrow depression visible between what should be the HIMARS's windows. That isn't present on the HIMARS. It also looks like here there is some sort of metal plating covering the windows, which again aren't present on HIMARS. I think what was actually destroyed is this, an RM-70 Vampire. You can see it has the angled front like a HIMARS does, and superficially does resemble a HIMARS. But more importantly, it has metal plates which go down and cover the windows, which would also make a sort of depression between each one. Here's the image of the supposed HIMARS again. It looks like there's metal plates covering the front with a bit of a depression between them. So, I could be wrong, but I think this is definitely an RM-70 that was hit here. Here's the other vehicle which is highlighted. This highlighted as being a security car. It's not claimed by Russia to be HIMARS. A few sources on Twitter and everything are saying this is the HIMARS and arguing it's clearly not a HIMARS, which it isn't, but neither did Russia claim it was. Most people thought that because they missed the vehicle claiming to be HIMARS, which was quite hard to see because only its beak was peeking out. And now, this brings us to another reason why I don't think this was a HIMARS. If the man of the moment was destroyed here, why would Russia only show a small section of it creeping into the trees, rather than the entire vehicle, and leave beyond any reasonable doubt? I think the two clips are two incidents spliced together. A possible HIMARS firing, then an RM-70, which was actually hit. So let's check the geolocation. So the launch site which we saw early on in the video was here, in this field. And here, the launch site and the site where a vehicle was destroyed. It's about 8 kilometers as the crow flies, but a bit longer as the wolf walks. But I would say that's a reasonable distance for a shoot and scoot from the hiding spot to the firing point. So I don't see anything really wrong with Russia's claims here. In favour of this being a HIMARS, the launch point is about 25 kilometers from Vostochny and further from the border with Russia. The launch would have been targeting Russian positions if it was a HIMARS or ATACMS launch, then hitting ammo dumps, troop build-ups and the like in Russia itself, which does fit in with a likely ATACMS launch point and a likely HIMARS launch point, but doesn't fit in with the launch point of an RM-70 Vampire, as given the Vampire's range, it wouldn't really reach, as seen here, with Deep Stace's rangefinder tool. But then we're back to this possibly being two clips spliced together, which I think it was. So yes, the launch was HIMARS firing a rocket or an ATACMS into Russia. I don't doubt that, I think that is accurate. But the cuts of the video and the splicing are too suspicious. As of the fact, the vehicle which we saw going into the trees has quite a lot going for it, which suggests it's not a HIMARS. I think it's two clips spliced together. The vehicle creeping into the trees nearby is an RM-70, which would then head north in order to fire at Russian positions near Vostochny, which does fit. As seen here, An RM-70 moving under 10 kilometers north from its hiding spot can reach the area of Russian-occupied Kharkiv. So certainly, after firing, this is where I would possibly expect an RM-70 to go to hide, around this distance. But to be fair, the distances of a geolocation could work for both HIMARS and RM-70. I think the most telling evidence is the fact Russia didn't clearly show the HIMARS going into the bushes. If it was a HIMARS, they'd want to remove any doubt at all and would actually show the full vehicle. And as mentioned, there's too much wrong with the image for me to say it's a HIMARS. Notably, what appear to be metal plates at the front and a sort of depression between the metal plates, which isn't visible on a HIMARS launcher. So I think this is a RM-70 destroyed with some video editing and splicing to make it appear to be a HIMARS. I guess when you struggle to destroy HIMARS, you have to do what Russia does best and just absolutely make it up. To be fair, Russia has managed to destroy HIMARS, a solitary HIMARS, but two were also damaged. We saw them in the photo being removed to undergo repairs. So it's no wonder Russia is so desperate to try and add another one to the tally, as HIMARS is the best weapon of the war. I'm going to play a video from the Ukraine Volunteer Centre, which shows the handover of some of the equipment raised in the ongoing and previous fundraisers, so it's definitely worth a watch. If you want to donate to the ongoing fundraiser, the donation links are in the description. Thanks so much for watching, and take care everybody.
Good afternoon. Greetings from the Ukrainian Volunteer Center. We bought 2 helmets and 4 armored vests with a quick drop system for aerial reconnaissance on the Zaporizhia direction. Physically, all of the Foundation's fighters are on missions right now, and we can't personally take it all to the soldiers. So we will give it to them through our friends who have agreed to help us. Thanks to you, our drone operators will be more protected from artillery fire when they help our stormtroopers and our artillery to clear our country of Russian Nazi. Your help with words and comments helps us a lot morally. Your help with donations help us to save the lives of our soldiers in this bloody war started by Russia. Each of your donations helps to save the life of the soldiers whose wives and their children are waiting at home. Also, one of such a HIMARS channel subscribers bought and gave us EcoFlow. We will also give it to the operators because they need it most. Thank you very much. This is a very necessary thing that will help them in their very hard work. I'm ready to kneel before you in gratitude for your help. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. With love from Ukraine.